Hey everyone, if you've recently gotten a Mini Educator Remote Collar and you need a little walkthrough on the functions and features of the collar, then today's video is for you. I'm Zack Kiser with American Dog Pros, and today's video is on the Mini Educator. Okay, so today's video I wanted to do a little walkthrough for my clients and anybody else that just recently gotten a Mini Educator and wants a reminder or a walkthrough on how to use the functions of the collar. We're going to talk about three separate products that are very similar. First is going to be the Mini Educator. This is our most commonly used product from eCollar Technologies. Second is going to be the 2-dog Mini Educator, which is actually the same as the regular Mini Educator. It just comes with 2 collars in the box. And then third is the Micro Educator for small dogs. Let's get to it. Okay, so first up is the Mini Educator. Inside the box, you're going to have a remote, a collar, a charger, and a few accessories. If we take the collar and the remote out, we're going to talk about how to get started with them. So first thing is we want to turn the remote on. And so that's going to be the large button in the back center. It has an L on it because it also functions a flashlight on the receiver. But what we're going to do to turn the remote on is we're going to press and hold that button that's on the back. And once you hold it for a second and a half, 2 seconds, that backlight's going to come on the digital readout there. And this light will turn red, and then when it's on, it will flash green. If you press and hold that same button again, you'll get that same red light. And then it will turn off the backlight on the digital readout, and then it will turn off when you let go. Okay, so press and hold to turn on. Then to turn on the receiver, there's 2 red dots that are on each the remote and the receiver. If we touch those together, you'll get a solid green light on the receiver. After that's happened, you'll see that it flashes green every few seconds, indicating that it is on. That's one of the only features that we're going to go over on the collar itself. We'll get back to that in a later portion of this video, but for right now, let's focus on the remote. First of all, you have the digital readout here that's going to give you the stimulation setting and a couple of other indicators. You have the 2 buttons on the back. One is for the on-off, and we press and hold for that. But it also functions a light, a flashlight that is on the receiver. And if you just tap that on and off button, it has an L on it for light. If you just tap it, you'll get this pulsing LED light on the receiver. If you tap it again, you will get the solid LED light. And if you tap it a third time, it will turn off. So first pulsing. Then you will get the solid light, and then you will turn it off. Okay, that's fantastic for having your dogs out at night, walking. It's winter time right now, and so if you go on a walk after work and it's 5:30, it's going to be dark out. It's nice to have the dog illuminated a little bit so that other people, cars passing by, other joggers or whoever can see that you have a dog with you. You can also see your dog if you're letting them run out on your property at night and you want to know where they're at. The flashlight's a nice feature. As far as I know, this is the only significant or major brand of remote collars that has that flashlight on the receiver, so I love that function of it. Then you have, next to the large button in the center, you have a small button that says M/C. That has 2 different functions to it, and we're going to get into that as we move down the road. We'll come back to that. Next, we have the dial at the top of the remote. That is going to adjust the stimulation level on the remote. It goes from 0 to 100. When you get to 100, it's going to say high right after 99. But 0 to 100, and it is a smooth gliding dial, which a lot of other collars have a click-in style remote dial, and I like this gliding version better. It's nice and smooth, but you have to be careful with it. It's quite sensitive. Very small movements will make adjustments, and so just get comfortable with that. Practice a little bit without actually using it. Just move it around and get a feel for how much movement will make the type of level change that you're looking for. On the other side here, you have the T button. So it's a small black button that says T on it. That button stands for, T stands for tone or vibrate. I say that it stands for test, and that's what I tell people because I use the tone or vibrate setting just to test to see if the collar's on and operating. I don't use it for training typically. There are versions of training where it can be applicable. It's just not the style that I typically apply. So I use it just to test to make sure that the collar's on and working. The preset factory settings is that button will do a vibrate. So if I press the T, the whole collar itself will vibrate like a cell phone, and you can see it lights up both pieces when I press that. If I set it on the table, you'll probably be able to hear it vibrate. And so you can see, feel, and hear when you press that button that the collar is on and operating. Again, I use T for test just to see if the collar is working correctly. Okay, the next buttons are on this side, and they are, you have two S buttons. You have a black S and a red S. Both stand for stimulation, and depending on what setting we have the M/C button in is going to determine, how those function a little bit. So if I have just taken this right out of the package and have done nothing, then you will have an M on one side of the numbers and a C on the other side. M stands for momentary stimulation, and C stands for continuous stimulation. So in that case, when I press the black button, it will only momentarily stimulate whether I just tap the button or I hold it. So I'm holding the button now, but you can see that the red light goes away just after one moment. If I move to the red button, it is set on continuous, which means if I press and hold that button, the stimulation will continue through the contact points here for up to 10 seconds, at which point it will cut off automatically, which is a safety feature. So again, we have momentary and we have continuous. Now, I can then take this little button, press and hold it, and change to both buttons being just momentary or both buttons being just continuous, which is the setting that I like the most is the just continuous. I don't like to use momentary for anything, but we'll get into that. Again, I'm in the standard setting right now where there's both M and C, which means that you have the black button for momentary and the red button for continuous. Now, there is a boost feature, which means that if I press the black button, it is going to be the number on the dial, which right now is 39. The stimulation level will be 39 if I press the black button. But if while holding the black button, I then press the red button, I will get a momentary boost up to 5 levels increase from where I'm at. So that's going to be from 39 to 44. If I press the red button first, and then while holding the red button, I then press the black button, I will boost up again also from 39 to 44, but now it's going to be a continuous. You see the light continuing. So you can get a momentary boost by pressing the black and then the red, or you can get a continuous boost by pressing the red and then the black. To me, that's a little bit complicated. I prefer to put everything in the C setting, so I'll press and hold this button until it cycles to just C next to the number of stimulation. And then what I have is continuous for both buttons, so I'm holding the black and it's staying continuous, and I can hold the red and it stays continuous, but the black is going to be the number on the dial and the red by itself will be a boost, and I can set that boost anywhere from 1 to 20 increase. So if I set it, the preset is 5, so right now black would be 39 and red would be 44. So it's a 5-level increase, and I can increase that to up to 20 if I wanted to. The boost is a really nice feature because if we need to change levels because of a distraction when we're working with a dog, it is a lot easier to go from one button to the other button than to mess with this dial. Especially for people who are new to this remote, it can be a challenge to get comfortable with changing with the dial, and having that little bit of increase where we need it very easily by moving to that red button is a very nice feature. Now, like I said, I like the just C, but you can also put it into the just M by again pressing and holding that little M/C button until it cycles over to just M, at which point both buttons will be only momentary. That's the only setting that you're going to get, is momentary. And then again in this setting, the boost is going to be just the red button. The black button is going to be the dial number, and the red button is going to be the boost. But neither one will have continuous, only momentary is available. For me, when you're in continuous, you can just tap if you want a momentary stimulation. All you have to do is just tap and release, and you have continuous. Or you can press and hold, and you can have the boost button with just one press instead of holding and then pressing the other one. I feel like that's a little complicated, so I like just C, but to each his own. Another feature of the remote is that you can lock in whatever level you want. So if I turn this to, let's say, 30, then I can lock it on that level so that even if I turn the dial, it does not change. And I'll do that by pressing straight down on the dial until the red light goes away, and then the dial cannot be changed. It's staying on 30 even though I'm turning the dial. To unlock it, I'll simply do the same thing. I'll press straight down on the dial until that red light goes away, and then release, and it's back to being adjustable. It always changes the stimulation whenever you do that. It changed it there from 30 to 61. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to what level that's in and move it back to where it was. It does not stay the same. I don't know why, but it does automatically change it to another random level. So make sure you make that adjustment back if you're ever using that lock feature. Now let's look at charging. In the box comes a standard wall charger. You plug into the wall. That is split end, so you can charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. The remote plugs in right in the back. On the bottom is a little dust flap. You peel that back, it pops in just like that. It will illuminate right here, and a solid green bar right here means that you're finished charging. We'll take that out, and at the same time, you can plug in the collar. In between the contact points right here is another dust cover. You peel that back, and you pop in the charging piece. And again, this bar will illuminate, and it can go from red to green. When it's solid green, it is finished. Okay, let's look at some of the accessories that come in the box. First, you have a lanyard that attaches to the collar on this little tab here, or excuse me, on the remote. It attaches right here, and then you can open this up and you can wear it around your neck so that you can keep this with you, which is really important to be consistent in your training. Next in the box, you have two little packages that come in here. One is an extra set of contact points, and those go on the collar here. These are the short contact points for the dogs that have a thinner or lighter coat. And then you have the little package here that comes with slightly longer contact points for dogs with denser coats. E-Collar Technologies actually sells a bunch of different contact points, and if your dog has any kind of an allergic reaction to the metal on these tips, or these are not working for you, you can try some of their other contact points. Malamutes and Huskies and other dogs with very dense or double coated dogs can have connection issues, and we'll talk about that in another video. But if you're having trouble, you might want to try some of their other contact points. In the other package, you have a little black tool here that you can take the contact points off with. You'll need this, so you just put it on here and you turn, and that will take those contact points off. You will have a very hard time doing that if you don't have this tool or some kind of wrench to take that off with, but they just screw on and off, and you can put the other ones on, and you can use the tool to tighten those down. Let's grab that here, and you can see maybe the difference in size. So I don't know if you'll be able to see that on camera or not, but you have two different sizes there, and I almost unanimously use the long ones anyways, but there you go. So you have this little tool that will help you take those on and off. Next, you have a little black disc in here, and this will help you take off the skin that comes on the remote. And so you can actually just stick that in there and turn it, and it will pop the skin off on the front and the back. And these are interchangeable. You can get different colors. Some companies put their logos on these. We're gonna do that soon. So these skins come off. That's what this little black tool is here. And then one last thing that we have here in the little package is this somewhat transparent piece that goes on the contact points. And so if you put that there on the contact points, you can test to see if this thing is making a connection and operating correctly. So as you press the button here and turn this up, if you get it clicked on there right, when you're hitting the button, this will light up, indicating that this is working correctly. If one of your contact points was bad, or if it wasn't conducting for some reason, then this wouldn't light up. And you can see it changes as I move down in simulation. I'm only on 6 here. You can see the light is very dim. And then as I crank it up to high, the light gets stronger. So you can kind of test the functionality of the collar and make sure that it's working appropriately. So that's this little transparent piece. Okay, now what do we do if our collar isn't paired and we want to pair it to the receiver we have, or let's say maybe even we get a new receiver or something like that? How do we pair it? So first thing I'm going to do is have this one off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch the two red dots, one from the collar and one from the remote, together, and I'm just going to hold it there while that green light is on. Whoops. I'll hold it there with that green light on until it starts to flash. And then I have this on 0, and what I'll do is I'll press the black S and then the red S, and then it goes do-do-do, and it's paired up together. And you can see now it's paired. It was paired before, but anyways, so put the two dots, it has to be off and it has to be on 0. You put these two dots together, hold until it flashes. Once it starts flashing, you press the black and then the red, and it makes that noise, and now you're paired together. If we were in a 2-dog mode, or I was adding a collar to this remote to make it a 2-dog set, then what I could do is press the red and then the black, and then it would be paired to the red button instead of the black. So we can look at that. If we wanted to put it from 1-dog to 2-dog mode, what you'll see on the remote if you have just a regular 1-dog Mini Educator is that it flashes 1D at the top. And that means it's in 1-dog setting, but you can change it to 2-dog setting and then add a collar to it. So what you would do is you would press the red, then the black, and then the vibrate, and you just hold until it beeps like that, and now it says 1D at the top, and if I press the red button, it'll move down here and it'll flash 2D at the bottom. And what that's saying is that black button is dog 1 and red button is dog 2. Now if I wanted to add the remote, or add the collar to the red one, I would do the previous process and I would press red first, then black. So right now you'll see that if I press the black button, it's connected to the black button. But if I press the red one, nothing's happening because it is in a 2-dog mode now, and it's only connected black to this one, and I need to add a collar to the red one. So if I wanted to change this to the red button, I would touch these two buttons together. I would turn that off first, turn it down to 0. Then I would touch this together until the green light flashes. Couple seconds, there we go. Then again, red first, then black. You hear that do-do-do, and now it's paired. And you can see if I turn this up to have some stimulation, then the red button now illuminates the collar, but the black button does not. And so anyways, then I could do the same process to add it to to the black. So that's how you do a pairing for a 2-dog system to each button. Okay, now in the box underneath the tray, you have the owner's manual. It also comes with a couple of warnings that you should pay attention to. These are waterproof devices or water resistant devices, but you know, there are some contingencies to that. And then also there is the possibility of a metal allergy from the tips of the contact points. So keep an eye out, watch your dog, pay attention to what's going on with them when you start using this. Make sure that they're not getting any irritation around the neck. If they are, then you need to look into getting some other contact points. If you are doing water activities with your pet, you need to, you can use the collar while you're doing the water activities, dog diving, swimming, whatever. But after you take your dog out of the water and your session is finished, take the collar off and completely dry their neck off before you put the collar back on, okay? Because if you leave that collar on and the dog's got a lot of moisture on their neck, that is going to expedite irritation. You will have some stuff going on there. You want to avoid that at all costs. Take the collar off and dry the dog off so that they are nice and clean and dry, and then you can put the collar back on. Let's talk about how to change the boost setting. Like I said, I think the boost setting is really convenient for pet owners. Makes you capable of doing a quick adjustment when distractions appear in the environment that you're at. So like I said before, if I put this on 4, the black button is going to be 4 and the preset boost is 5. So if I press that red button, it's going to go up to 9. Okay, but what if I want to change that? What if 5 is not a very big increase for my dog? Maybe I want to increase by 15. What do I do to make that adjustment? Well, the first thing that you need to do is put this setting to M. So you press the little small button in the back here that says M/C. You hold that until it cycles to M. Once you're in M, you want to turn your dial down to 0. And then what you'll do is press and hold the black button, and after 5 seconds of pressing and holding the black button, the 0 will change to 1. Once you've changed to 1, you can rotate the dial to change the boost to whatever you want. So I will change that to 15, and it looks to me like the boost goes up to 60. I thought that it had been 20. Maybe that is how it used to be, and maybe they've changed it to 60. In any matter, I will change that to the desired boost of 15. And then we can press the black button again. Make sure this is not on your dog while you do this. Okay, now I hit the black button again, and we're back to our regular settings. And I can put it on, let's put it on 2. And we have black is 2, red is 17. And so we have black is 2 and red is 17 now. If I change it to 11, black is 11 and red is 26. So that's how we've changed it to boost by 15 instead of 5. Again, it has to be in the momentary only setting, so just an M next to the number, turn it to 0, hold the black button with the S for 5 seconds. It will change from 0 to 1. Change the dial to whatever setting that you want it to be, 0 through 6 or 1 through 60. Press the black button again, and then you're ready to go. Okay, one last feature we're going to talk about is changing the preset vibrate setting to a tone instead of a vibrate. So what you're going to do is you're going to press the L button and then simultaneously press the T button. 1 beep is going to be for the tone and 2 beeps is going to be for the vibrate. So L and then T, and it beeped and I saw a readout. It said A on the digital readout, and now we have a tone. If I do it again here, it's going to be 2 beeps and we're back to vibrate. So L then T changes to tone, L and T back to vibrate. Okay, so that's basically everything about the Mini Educator, all of the features that I use and more. Some of these features I don't use at all. I've never used the tone before. I only use the vibrate for testing, but there are other ways to train, and some people like the vibrate for training. And then we have 2 more boxes here that we're going to look at. this is the 2-dog Mini Educator. It is exactly the same as the 1-dog Mini Educator, except that in the box you get 2 collars. It comes in the it comes set in the 2-dog setting, and one of them is going to have a red collar, so that will help you know which button lines up to which collar and which dog you're working with. It also will have an extra splitter for the charging port. So what you'll do is you just stick that on the end there of one of them, and then you will have 3 end pieces to charge both collars and the remote at the same time. Now, when you're in the 2-dog setting, you have a little bit of differences in how some of your features work. So, like I said, you have the 2 collars. We're going to turn them on the same way. Press and hold the big button in the center on the back to turn on the remote. Touch the 2 red dots together on each collar. So now they're both on. You'll see them both flashing green. And you'll see that if I press the black button, oops, let me turn it up. It's on 0, so it does nothing. But if I turn it up to 2, then if I press the black button, you see the black collar going. And then if I press the red button, you see the red collar going. Now, like I said, I like to work in the C setting. It comes standard on the M setting, but I'm going to change it over to C. And what we're going to get here is you don't have a boost for the red button. You have the black collar on the black button, you have the red collar on the red button. So if you want to boost the black collar, you're going to press and hold the black button, and while holding the black button, if you press the red button, there you're going to get the boost. So you can toggle up to the boost by pressing the black button, and then while holding the black button, you press the red button. The same thing will work in reverse. If I want to boost the red collar, I will press the red button, and then while holding the red button, I will press the black button, and that will boost. I don't love that. If you're not careful, you'll accidentally stimulate the wrong dog, so make sure if you're going to use it that way, you are holding the button for the right dog and then going to that other button while still holding. The other thing that will come up is going to be, the other difference that's going to come up is that when you want to use the vibrate function, now that you're in a 2-dog setting, it doesn't know which collar you want to vibrate. It doesn't vibrate them both. What it does is when you press that T button, it brings up a funny little button on the remote, and it's like 2 upside down L's facing away from each other. I don't know what that symbol is there for, but now you're in the vibrate or tone setting, and then you will press the button that you want to stimulate or to vibrate. So you can see here, if I press the black one, it vibrates the black one, but it does not do the red one. It only does the black one. If I press the red one, it only does the red one, not the black one. If you want to go back to the regular stimulation, you press that T button again. Now you're back to the regular stimulation. The number is on the dial, and then you can use the S button to stimulate the dog that you want to work with. Those are the major differences in how to use the 2-dog setting compared to the regular 1-dog setting. I think it's awesome that they were able to make a 2-dog collar that keeps all of its functions, but the boost and the vibrate can be a little bit confusing for that. So just take a look at that and make sure that you have that all worked out before you start working with your dog. Next here we have this micro educator. I'm not going to go through any functions of the micro educator because it is exactly the same as the mini educator. The only difference is the remote is only purple. You can get the mini educator in a variety of remotes, but this one is always purple if you order the micro. However, you can connect a micro collar to a mini educator remote. But if you order the micro educator, it's going to be a purple remote. And then the collar itself here has all the same settings, but it is according to them, it is 20% smaller than the regular mini educator. So it's a little bit smaller, and the contact points are closer together. And that's one of the key factors that makes this very beneficial for a small dog, is the contact points being closer together. I've trained actually a bunch of dogs whose neck were too narrow, and they were fitting inside of this Mini Educator Collar. And so the Micro Educator brings the contact points closer together. It's lighter, it's smaller, and intended to be comfortable for small dogs. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed our walkthrough of the Mini Educator, the 2-dog Mini Educator, and the Micro Educator. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the section below. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more dog training content. Check out our Patreon if you want to see full dog training lessons. Thank you for watching. I'm Zach with American Dog Pros, and have a great day.